Here with Scott Burns, the director of the report, as well as Daniel Jones, the subject of it, for lack of better terms, played by Adam Driver in the film. I wanted to start with you, Scott, that the movie coming out, I would argue, is coming out at a very interesting time in American politics, if you will, because it really deals with accountability. It deals with whistleblowers, possibly, people, duty over party. This is a heck of a coincidence for you, isn't it?
Well, it seems to be the state of things, so I don't know that it's a coincidence. I think you look at this moment in history and, it's not a discrete event. It's the result of, 20 years of a lack of accountability, as you pointed out. And, that's why I made the movie.
Daniel, you spent 7 years, is that correct? Putting the investigation, the report. I assume we're never going to get to see the entire report. It's classified.
Well, the full 6,700-page report has 38,000 footnotes to the CI's records. It will someday be released with redactions. It could be 15 to 20 years out, but someday I think it will see a light of day.
In the film, there's a part of it, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, where it almost felt like you felt backed into a corner. You thought that the powers that be were acting inappropriately, and you got kind of close to what I would call, you just mentioned, the whistleblower, that you were going to say, I'm going to take it upon myself. How close did you really get to the point of saying, I'm going to release this report to the media, as opposed to fingers crossed Congress is going to vote?
Yeah. Well, I think this film's a truth-telling story, and a little bit less of a whistleblower story. There's no doubt that there were whistleblowers involved in this. Many, as depicted, Tim Blake Nelson, for instance, plays a character, CIA character, that comes to Adam Driver at one point and says, you should look at this email. And that happened quite frequently. There were a lot of CIA officers who opposed this program, who came to us as whistleblowers and said, you need to find this memo, you need to find that email. And in many ways, the report wouldn't be nearly as cogent and effective if it wasn't for those real whistleblowers.
I follow the news. It's kind of my job to do it. And I was struck during the film, Scott, that while I remembered bits and pieces, you did an amazing job of putting all those bits and pieces together in a form that was digestible for maybe those people that aren't complete insiders in how Washington politics works. How do you navigate telling a true story like that while still making it interesting?
A lot of drafts, I did a lot of writing on this, and my goal was to try and take this 7-year story and put it into 2 hours and not bore people and not confuse them. And I think, the trick is always you want people to be curious about the story but not confused by it. And so you've got to keep giving them enough information, because ultimately it's a movie, and I wanted to inform, but I also really wanted to entertain. And so, my obligation here was to make a really cool political thriller.
To your credit, it made me want to go back and read more about it. I was like, wait a minute, I seem to remember that part. I can tell you that the piece that stuck out to me that I think, sadly, Daniel, has completely been forgotten almost in American lexicon is the fact that the CIA hacked into the Senate Intelligence Committee's computers to basically find out what you guys had dug up. Like, that is pretty darn amazing by any account.
It's remarkable. It's remarkable, right? The CIA entered that room, they went through the emails of Senate staff, they went through our files, and no one was ever held accountable for that. It's remarkable. That's where the whole committee was created in the first place, is because the intelligence community was found to be spying on Americans. To me, it's still dumbfounding that they did that.
I'd like to say for the both of you, I thought the movie actually came across rather apolitical. There are lots of villains in this film. There's lots of people that I would say maybe made wrong decisions, but some of them have R's next to their name, some of them have D's next to their name. This was not a one side or the other. Was that as conscious as it came across, or is that just the story?
Well, that is the story, but it was also, a choice that I made early on as I grappled with the story, because, the thing that I think is remarkable is when Dan started on this, assignment, he had done this tapes investigation, which is classified, but what we do know is that the vote to go further was 14-1. So that was a bipartisan mandate to go forward. And I think what's remarkable in this story, and what I hope people take from it, is it wasn't that long ago that we were able to function that way. that there were people on both sides of the aisle, as you pointed out, who felt strongly enough about this issue to say never again. I mean, foremost among them are Senator McCain and Senator Feinstein.
Thank you both for your time, and again, and also thanks for ending the film. I don't think I'm giving anything away, with actual footage of our Senator McCain with his amazing speech on the floor of the Senate. I thought it was a very, really classy way to wrap the film up. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Here's our top story.
KTAR News, 92.3 FM, Arizona's news station.